What's going on, legends? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we have more information in regards to Season 4 of DMZ. Like we said in our previous video, and like they announced, they are putting out a new blog post today, kind of giving us a little bit further information on some of the things we can expect going into Season 4. But before we dive into it, if you guys do enjoy this content anytime or find this video helpful in any way, make sure you share your support for the channel by going down below and smash that like button. Let's go ahead and throw an easy goal of 150 likes on today's video, as well as if you guys like to find your way back to the channel for more Call of Duty content, make sure you do hit that subscribe button, also that notification bell so you don't miss your future videos. Now let's go ahead and dive into it here. Hello operators, it has been an awesome few months of the DMZ beta with the arrival of the Koshai complex and Season 3 Reloaded. With the mysteries of Almazra brewing just under its surface, we loved seeing players take on the new challenges with this space. In case you missed it, here's a look at making of Koshai complex and a recent intel drop. As we look ahead to Season 4, we are bringing another exclusion zone online with the arrival of our new medium-sized map Vondel. More details about Vondel and the different modes and experiences it will offer can be found in both the Season 4 announcement and the Vondel tactical preview, which are both blogs. With the arrival of Vondel, we will be resetting DMZ much like Season 2 for the addition of Ashika Island to include this new destination. So again, we're seeing a wipe across the board very similar to Season 2. This time we are including the insured weapon slots as part of that wipe. New DMZ content coming to Season 4. We are excited to introduce a number of updates this season, including a revamp of the DMZ menus for improved navigation and additional brand new features. The new DMZ menu will contain the following areas: mission objectives, a mission select spot, location objectives, map challenges, forward operating base, upgrade objectives, and notes for your collection. So it looks like at this point they actually added a spot so where you pick up the notes across the entire map or in the different places. You will be able to maybe collect that information and keep that intel in a place where you will be able to go back and kind of reflect on it. I think this is kind of cool. It adds value to it. I don't think there's any point in having a bunch of notes when people pick it up, read it once, and then they kind of forget that information and they can't really tie any of the notes together. So this will be kind of neat. So I think it is kind of neat they're adding that. Obviously, we already had mission objectives, a mission select spot, similar probably to the past. Maybe they kind of do a couple updates to that. Location objectives, map challenges. It sounds like we're going to have individual map challenges, what can be different than actual missions. And then that new centralized hub, the forward operating base. So that's going to be our next topic, actually, the forward operating base. Consider the forward operating base a central hub for DMZ. Here, operators will complete objectives to unlock upgrades across DMZ. Unlike faction missions in previous DMZ seasons, the FOB upgrade objectives are passive and do not require players to equip them to make progress. The FOB is divided into 4 categories of upgrades, elements of which are shown in the image above, for exemplary purposes only. Weapons locker, ensured weapon slots, ensured weapon slot cooldown time, contraband weapon stash sizes. So sounds like you'll be able to not only purchase more weapon slots, how many we won't know, and then you will not only be able to do that, you might actually be able to upgrade the cooldown times for those slots, and then obviously your contraband weapon stash size as well. For the stash, you will get a wallet unlock and wallet capacity, so the size of the wallet and how much it can hold, and a key and contraband stash sizes increases as options as well. This is pretty huge. I think these were some of the biggest complaints I had, was the key stash more importantly than the contraband, because it was always kind of lame to have a set amount of keys that you kind of want to hold on to, continuously pick up keys and not actually be able to store any of them. So being able to actually upgrade that stash, although we don't know the actual size of it, that is kind of exciting to hear. Bounty board, there's going to be personal exfil, barter recipes, and buy station discounts. It kind of sounds like you should be able to purchase a personal exfil, which is kind of confusing to me. The barter recipes, maybe you can choose certain ones, or maybe you can make them easier by purchasing those. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to tie in. Then buy station discounts, maybe you can make a purchase or upgrade that will be potentially, affect all of your future infills. And whenever you go to a buy station, maybe certain items will be cheaper. Then we have a communication station. This is where the urgent mission access will be taking place. We believe the new upgrade infrastructure will eliminate the friction we felt between operators and high tier mission objectives. For example, instead of faction mission progress, ensured weapon slots can now be unlocked through passive objectives in the FOB. So I think it is going to be substantially easier to unlock those ensured weapon slots. And for those of you that thought that would be unlocked strictly behind a paywall, good news is you guys won't be upset because you will be able to still unlock them without a paywall. Next up, we have our urgent missions. This is kind of why we didn't go into further detail when they were just talked about. For those weighing to grind out even more faction reputation, we are introducing urgent missions in Season 4. These limited time missions are unlocked through upgrade objectives in FOB, and the urgent missions will rotate and offer rewards for eager and efficient operators on a daily basis. So it sounds like you'll be able to do missions daily and earn possible rewards on a daily basis. And based on them being a daily thing, I'm not expecting any of these rewards to be insane. So it is kind of cool that they're giving more opportunities for us to earn some stuff. just going to matter what that stuff is that we're actually going to be able to earn. Another much anticipated feature is the wallet, which provides the ability to exfil and store cash outside of the world. This means operators can keep the cash they exfiltrate with and opt to utilize it in another infiltration. Cash inside the exclusion zones can be spent or used to complete missions or objectives. The wallet is unlocked and expanded through FOB objectives and accessible in your loadout selection prior to infiltration. So I think that is a cool feature for those of you that kind of wanted to save some of that cash or have a reason to actually exfil your cash, or at least do something with the cash that you do exfil. This is a pretty cool system that they're implementing here, and I think it could be pretty successful, and maybe they'll even expand upon it in future seasons. Next, we have the new and refreshed missions. New mission sets are designed to work across multiple exclusion zones in the DMZ. Season 4 will contain new and reworked missions, as well as the inclusion of always active objectives in the FOB. Story missions are now unlocked by earning faction reputation through standard mission completion or urgent mission completion. So I think what that kind of means is you will have a certain amount of reputation that will be required throughout completing a set tier. And if you guys don't have enough reputation, I don't think you will have access to the story mission. So you might have to complete 5 of the previous missions before that, but maybe you won't have enough faction reputation to unlock that story mission. You then would have to go and complete a couple of the urgent missions, or the ones that are going to give you a little bit more faction reputation. You may have to obviously grind a little reputation there to be able to unlock that story mission, to be able to complete that to unlock your next tier. So on the surface, it could actually be more challenging to move through the different tiers, not be as simple as just completing that final story mission, which is kind of interesting. I'm kind of, excited to see how this new system plays in, and I'm kind of interested to see how they've reworked the missions and made the changes that they are to add this reputation system. Next up, we have the new exclusion zone Vondel. Now, this isn't really new information necessarily, but an all-new exclusion zone brings new rewards and challenges to operators, including a new boss and weapons case. Prepare to strike with speed if you're seeking the Bullfrog. So it sounds like the new boss is going to be known as the Bullfrog. While Vondel is slightly larger than the Shadow Company's site Ashika Island, Vondel will support infiltrations of the same size, 18 operators or 6 total squads. I think they've kind of heard the complaints about Ashika Island being too small and there being too much PvP action on there, and they kind of want to balance things out. So although this is a significantly larger map, but it is smaller than Al Mazrah, I think it will be a little bit more balanced due to the fact that we're not increasing the amount of squads that are on the map, but we are substantially increasing the size. So I think it'll be really cool to see how this map kind of plays out. Vondel also has an exclusive new DMZ contract available, Signal Intelligence. Operators will hack phones to gain access to cash rewards from other contracts in the area. Now that kind of sounds pretty interesting. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but it does sound like maybe you hack a phone, you take up one of the contracts in the area, and you consume the money that maybe you would get for actually completing that contract. Overall, I think it's kind of cool that they are adding another contract. Next, we have the dynamic fog, which we talked a little bit about in our previous video. As mentioned in the Season 4 announcement blog, our dynamic fog system will arrive in Vondel. The fog only exists in Vondel given its location below sea level and an abundance of canals. DMZ operators should be prepared to face volatile conditions as visibility may quickly deteriorate or improve. Now, I believe it can be anything as a minimal amount of fog to a pretty dense amount of fog where you barely will be able to see the operators around you. That will definitely impact the way PvP works in DMZ. But I think it overall could be pretty exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this dynamic weather could be used. Next, we have our new faction Phalanx. With Season 4 comes the arrival of a new faction Phalanx. Meanwhile, the redacted faction whom we met in Season 3 has unceremoniously disappeared from operations in the DMZ. So the confusing part here to me is that they are saying, here's a new faction, it's the Phalanx, but it also sounds like we're removing a faction at the same time. They're not really adding an additional faction, they're kind of just unveiling another faction and taking away one. So basically, we are getting a new faction, but it also does sound like the one from Season 3, which was redacted, is actually getting removed and will no longer be a part of the current DMZ story going into Season 4. Station Chief Katie Laswell is conducting operations with Phalanx directly as she has interest in the unknown enemy faction that has invaded Vondel. Phalanx and Black Moss will execute on missions together, gaining intel to uncover the force's identity. So it sounds like at this point, Phalanx and Black Moss are working together, so that's kind of an interesting turn of events going into this new season. Now, next we have a little bit more on faction reputation. As mentioned above, faction reputation will arrive with faction mission menu in Season 4. Faction tiers are still set on a number of missions with a story mission at the end. Now, this is kind of something I was talking about before. In Season 4, the story mission in each tier is now unlocked when enough faction reputation has been earned. Players can complete both standard missions and urgent missions to earn faction reputation. This gives more flexibility in how factions are progressed. Now, I am curious to know if you actually earned enough reputation without completing enough missions, if you would still unlock the final story mission, or if once you have enough reputation, if you haven't completed X amount of the missions prior, if it won't let you unlock that final story mission. So maybe it'll still require you to complete 5 out of the 6 missions in order to unlock the final one, but also on top of that, if you don't have enough reputation after completing that many, you might have to grind out a little bit more of that in order to unlock that final mission. Now, they're going to be revisiting the reset. As previously announced, we will be resetting faction mission progress and your DMZ inventory in order to bring all these features online with the new map. Kind of expected. I thought as soon as we knew we were getting a new map, they were probably going to do a reset, similar to when they did it, obviously, for Season 2. Just because they add a new map, they want to make sure that the missions take people to all of the different locations in order to make sure all of the maps are kind of populated and overall increase the experience. I think it makes sense. With the reset, obviously, contraband weapon inventories are getting rolled back. Key and mission inventories will be emptied. Faction mission and mission progress is getting wiped, and you will get an updated mission set, obviously, with the new wipe. You're probably wondering, what about my loot? The insured weapon slots are getting completely wiped across the board with new ways to unlock them in this new season. For clarity on any previous progress, all previous mission and boss enemy rewards, for example, acquired missions. And then for clarity on any previous progress, all previous missions and boss enemy rewards, for example, previously acquired weapons case rewards, will not be reset apart from the contraband and keys. And any blueprint earned unlocks will obviously still be available in your loadout selection. So you're not going to lose any of the blueprints and you're not going to lose any of the rewards that you've already claimed. Now, looking ahead, as we look to the future of DMZ and the ongoing beta, we have many exciting as well as redacted content ahead. Thank you for playing, and we hope to see you in Vondel soon. So basically, they're letting us know there's still a ton of content in the future seasons ahead for DMZ, or at least they have big plans for DMZ. And we are still currently in a beta. So obviously we can expect tons of things to still change as they kind of progress toward getting out of beta, maybe with DMZ in the future. But that's going to wrap things up for us here. Thank you guys for all the support in today's video, all the support in the channel, and I look forward to seeing y'all in the next one. Peace.